everyone, so today I'm going to be doing a short little Shop Hush haul video, and I've actually purchased from them about a year ago. It was probably the first time I used them, and I always kind of debated whether I wanted to, like, I don't know, show the products that I use and stuff, just because I feel like there's sometimes a little bit of controversialness to it whenever, like, there are companies that, you know, pretty blatantly rip off other makeup palettes, but of course these are like more affordable versions of those. Sometimes they're like more of I guess copying the like overall idea of a palette. Sometimes they're doing a like color for color, name for name dupe. Sometimes they're using the same color palette but kind of re-theming it, which is like a couple things I have here. So I've always felt a little, I don't know, unsure of whether people would like this type of video or not. Like I said, I've been buying from them for about a year now, and yeah, so I thought I would go through and show you kind of like the newest palettes that I have lately, and if you guys are interested in these videos, I can maybe do like in-depth swatches of them or like looks with them. Some palettes I do actually have the like high-end or version that's actually like knocking off, but for the most part, most of these palettes are colors or palettes that I don't already own because I didn't want to buy duplicates just for the sake of buying them, but I do have like one or two that I can like directly compare to color-wise. So these are all just palettes that I have bought myself, things that I have been really interested in trying. So I'll go through real quickly and show you the palettes that I have purchased from my most recent haul. And again, if you guys are interested in seeing the past things that I've bought before and kind of like my thoughts on it, let me know if that's something you're interested in or not. So the first two palettes I have are from the brand Bad Habit, and I only have a couple other palettes from this specific brand. There's like a couple different little like cheater brands kind of, I would say, from this. One brand is like Okalan or Okalan, I don't know how they pronounce it. I just always read it as Okalan. There's Bad Habit. There's another one called Face Candy. There's like a whole bunch of different ones. But so these first two are from Bad Habit. These are both knocking off like the Huda Beauty eyeshadow palettes. This is called the Aphrodite palette. I think this was one of the first ones that I saw like last year on Instagram, and I saw people like swatching it and saying how good it was. So I wanted to give it a try. So this is what the palette looks like. It's obviously duping the Huda Beauty. I think it's called the Rose Gold Edition palette, but that's the one it looks like. It doesn't, you know, copy the names, but it's very obvious at what palette this is kind of knocking off or very heavily taking inspiration from. They're also just kind of swapped some colors around in like different placements and things like that, but very, very obvious what palette it is. So I have not used any of these on my eyes yet, but just from swatching them, the mattes are very extremely soft and pigmented. So I'll have to try this on my eye to see if this is kind of the case, but I usually find with some of these cheaper brands, they're actually very pigmented and they're very soft shadows, but sometimes I find that they can either have problems with staining or the wear just doesn't stay as much. But based on like purely just from finger swatching these so far, they are definitely very pigmented. So the original price of the Huda Beauty palette is $65 and this one is $12. So again, it kind of feels a little conflicting for me to like purchase from these kind of knockoff brands, but I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up and something I haven't quite figured out if I want to support or not. But I definitely have purchased a lot of these kind of knockoff palettes because it's so expensive, but of course a lot of brands are putting a lot of money and resources into developing these color palettes, these stories, and you know, just the packaging, and it kind of feels bad when a company just rips off all of that, but everyone likes a good deal. So I just feel very conflicted with that. So I kind of want to put the whole like ethical thing aside just for a minute and talk about the palettes, that we can kind of at least get an idea of what the palettes are. So the next one is another Bad Habit palette and another Huda Beauty kind of knockoff. This one's called the Athena palette. I have to say, like, for knockoff palettes, I think that they did a really pretty job at like making these look like really nice palettes and stuff. And then this one is supposed to be a dupe of the Desert Dusk palette. So very beautiful colors, definitely really fun. There's this one color here, it's like literally like a barely pressed glitter, but I think there was actually a color just like that in the actual Huda Beauty palette that people didn't really like as much, but that one's definitely just like a gritty glitter, not really much of a shadow. So that's one thing I don't like, but it's not really necessarily the palette's fault because they are duping another palette. But again, super vibrant colors, like definitely super pigmented. Again, these kind of like will maybe stain sometimes, so, but like as far as color wise, those definitely show up. And of course swatches aren't always the best tell how great an eyeshadow is. I'll have to actually use these on my eyes. So these next two palettes they had where you could buy them either individually or as a bundle, and if you bought them as a bundle, I think you'd saved like maybe $4 or something, so I ended up getting those. And these are the two palettes. So there is the Sahara palette and then there is the Amazonia palette. So these are what these two look like. So this is another case of where they're not really I guess knocking off the actual theme of the palette. They're just taking the colors and they're like flipping them around in the palette as far as placement wise, but they did kind of come up with their own like theme or branding for the actual palette. So I don't know if that makes it better or worse, to be honest, but so these are supposed to be duping, I believe they're supposed to be duping the Kylie like holiday collection, like the Naughty and Nice palettes. I don't own those, so I can't really like compare like color for color, like are they like exact dupes? Are they more of just like similar color stories, or you know, things like that? So this one I believe is the Naughty palette. I might get them backwards, but this is what the colors look like. A lot of reds and greens and some golds. Really fun, bright pops of color. But again, these are also like renamed to obviously fit to the Amazonian theme. So another thing I really like, these palettes, like they actually have like that soft touch material that they're actually made out of. So even though these are very like inexpensive, they actually put, I feel like, a lot of thought and like design into the actual palettes. So I don't know, I like that. I like that it's a nice feeling palette. It doesn't feel like a $12 palette, it honestly doesn't to me. And since this was the bundle, it was actually like $10 a palette, so this actually feels really nice. There's obviously like foil on it. I feel like they actually like put a lot of thought into the packaging. Probably, of course, they're not developing the colors, so they have the leeway to kind of do that. But so that one I believe is the Naughty palette, and then the other one is the Sahara one, which I believe is supposed to be like the Nice palette. And so this one is a lot more warm tones. This one actually reminds me very similar to like the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk one actually. So I don't know, maybe there was some copying from Kylie's part on that, but I mean, there's only really so many colors you can do. But this one has a really fun kind of like MAC blue brown kind of pigment. Very pretty color, a lot of mattes. They're very soft, very pigmented. And again, I'll have to like actually try these on my eyes. This is really just kind of showing you what I got. And hopefully I will be able to do like some more videos talking about the actual palettes and the qualities of them. And the last palette I got is actually the most expensive palette I got. This one was only $14 though. So even that being like the highest price that I paid for this haul, definitely, you know, not a bad price. This one is from the brand Okalan or Okalan or however you pronounce that one. This one is just called Deep Eyes. It's called the Perfect Stylist Eyes 24 color palette. So this one I think was very obvious at first. This one is actually like kind of knocking off the Too Faced, I think it was 2016 holiday collection, but they're a little less, I wouldn't say less obvious about it, but they're obviously like taking kind of, you know, the sketchy kind of like house design, the Eiffel Tower, things like that. But like that one is definitely the Christmas in New York palette. This one's actually the chocolate shop one that is scented as well. And I might just be crazy, but I feel like they actually scented this palette as well, which I wouldn't have expected for like these kind of knockoff brands to like go as far to actually like dupe the scent as well. It definitely has that same kind of like cocoa-y or like vanilla-y kind of scent to it as well. It has like a slight just tinge of like eyeshadow scent as well. But this is what the palette looks like on the inside. This is a color for color dupe, name for name dupe of the Too Faced Chocolate Shop palette. Hopefully you can kind of see without me like wrecking everything, but this is like a color for color like dupe. Another one point that I feel like is a little okay for these kind of dupings is that like you can't even really get this palette in stores anymore. I mean, you could probably find this on like eBay or like resale places, but you'll probably find fakes of that as well. But you can't actually buy this anymore, so this is kind of like an option for, since that was like a limited edition product. If you couldn't get that, you could buy this, save some money. The colors, like just from looking at the colors based on in the pan, most of them are like pretty spot on. I did swatch a couple where they're just like just a tiny bit off, but definitely as far as like color wise, it's very, very close. But again, I do feel like if it is a product, especially one that you can't really get anymore, that is like one kind of point where I feel like maybe it's not as bad that these companies are duping these. So like I said, I do have more of these palettes, so if you're interested in seeing those, I could always make an update video. I'm kind of in a funny spot though, because I have been doing my like 1 month makeup palette thing where I use like one makeup palette for a month for the entire year and I'll have 12 different palettes. I kind of feel like I want to really stick to that, so I'm like, oh, why did I get sucked into buying more palettes? I know, it's kind of like, what am I doing? But I think I might like, you know, give these a try for like a couple days or something. But for like every day in my regular life, I definitely just use my planned palette for the month. But yeah, I'm really interested in trying these and I want to see like, are they really worth the money? You know, it's such a price difference in these. So let me know if you guys actually are interested in seeing these videos or what you think about Shop Hush or makeup brands like this that very clearly take inspiration from palettes. I definitely think there's a little bit of a difference between like taking the inspiration of a palette versus like completely knocking it off, which some of these do definitely. But I also like that there's more affordable options for people who just really can't spend $65 on an eyeshadow palette, and I totally get that as well. It kind of feels very conflicting for me. It's like, do I want to support these companies that are ripping off other companies that have put their time and their effort and their money into developing these things? And then of course there's the argument that there's really only so many different color combinations you can create. There's only so many different purple eyeshadows that can be produced, and that's true. It just feels a little gray area for me. So that was a little bit of my thoughts on like Shop Hush. I've definitely purchased from them before. I honestly will probably purchase from them again. But it just, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys ever think about like the ethics or like the moral implications of buying from companies like this? Or do you think, hey, it's just makeup and they're just giving other people options? So that was it for this haul. Again, if you guys are interested in more of these videos, I will totally make them. If you guys don't like these videos, let me know as well. I just kind of want to know what people are interested in seeing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, link is below. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.